Today, my friends, is an exciting day, at least for me. We're doing a 45-day dry-aged prime porterhouse. My favorite steak is about this thick. We're doing it on the new Komodo Kamado 38-inch, and we're gonna use a wood fire and a little bit of coffee lump to make that flavor outstanding. Let's get into it. What's up, barbecue fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today is an exciting day. I mean, look, is that a steak or what? I mean, that's a solid 2 inches thick. It's a 45-day dry-aged prime porterhouse, my favorite steak. Now, when I was younger, I could have eaten this whole thing, no problem. Today, I can't quite eat it all, but luckily, I will have some amazing leftovers for a sandwich or something tomorrow. Before we get into it, we gotta address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm drinking water for a change, and it's afternoon. I'm not quite 100%, so my voice sounds off. I apologize, but that's not gonna get in the way of making a video and enjoying a fine-ass steak. So, this guy I got from LaFredia Meats in New Jersey. Not sponsored, not a partner, nothing, but I've been buying from them about 10 years. Recently I did a burger video. I got their burger blend. It's been around for 80 years. I mean, I've been buying their stuff for a long time. It's usually one of my go-to places for like dry-aged beef or a nice roast or something. I like them because you've got 30, 50, and 70-day dry age. In this case, it's a 45. Sometimes they change it up, but a 45-day dry-aged steak is delicious. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep this guy super simple. We're gonna put my pepper can in here. Just got some 16 mesh pepper here. Probably enough for this whole steak. This is just Diamond Crystal kosher salt. So we will put on our pepper first here. Salt. This is a big piece of meat, so don't be afraid to put some salt on it. All right. A little heavy on the pepper there, but that's okay. I gotta wash my bottles since I touched the meat. Don't forget to wash as you go. It's one thing I really don't show on camera. Someone recently gave me attitude in the comments because I didn't show it. I'm like, I'm not an idiot. I've been cooking food for like 35 years now on my own. I know to wash right. But make sure you wash your hands as you go. Now, what is a porterhouse, you may ask? This is like a T-bone, except for it's big, right? We've got a huge fillet on the side here and a New York strip. It's just, there's only a few porterhouses on a cow. So as it starts to get smaller and smaller fillets, you start to get into a T-bone. But it is a treat because you get the best of both worlds, and they are super, super flavorful, especially when they're dry aged. So let's talk about our cook today. So we're gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes while I get the Komodo Kamado dialed in. Now, I will tell you right up front, my 38 is a little dirty on the inside. I just recently cooked 14 butts on it for a very special event, and I didn't film it, but I'll show you some footage here of it. But I'll tell you what, like I put the tray in it. Like this is the tray that comes with it. It's a big tray. It's the size of my cutting board. This thing was filled to the brim with fat renderings and whatnot on there. But I'm so glad I put that in there, but it really did need a good clean. So last night what I did is I ran it at like 600 degrees for a few hours, maybe 3 or 4. Then I went to bed and I just let it kind of come down in temperature. It was actually still a little warm this morning. I was sitting around 250 because I left all the vents open and it just burned 100% of the charcoal. So what I'm doing today is we're using some Komodo Kamado coffee char. It's lump made from coffee wood. I looked on the website recently and I don't see that it's still available. It comes and goes. I stocked up on it, but it adds a really, really nice flavor to your anything you're grilling, chicken, steaks. And then what we're doing is I grabbed a couple splits of oak. It's actually white oak from my offset, and I cut them up small, and we're gonna lay them on the bottom. So we used a Grill Blazer grill gun. We lit a bunch of charcoal there, and then I threw a couple small pieces of wood on there. I haven't done this on the 38 yet, so I got to play with the vent settings, but I've got, maybe 1/8 of a opening on the half moon, and we've got the vent open 2.5 turns right now. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out and get that dialed in. Once I'm at 250, we're gonna put this guy indirect off to the side and just let that flavor build as we cook this guy, and then we'll ramp it up and give it its final sear that'll put it over the edge. So one thing I'm gonna do today is I'm going to use the RFX meat probes from ThermoWorks. As I said, I'm a little under the weather, and this is just gonna make it a little easier so I don't have to think about it. But the big thing to understand or remember here is that the filet will cook faster than the New York strip. So you really want to, it's good to know both temperatures. So since I've got two probes, I'm gonna go in the middle here and find, let's get in the middle, Jake. And what that'll do is it'll just allow me to check temperatures. I will probably flip it around a little bit. Other things that I've done when I do something like a porterhouse, sometimes this filet gets just too far ahead. So what I'll do is I'll wrap it in foil to slow it down and protect it from the heat. Not tight, just enough to, you know, block some of the heat for it. So what I've done outside is I've gotten the gateway, we've put the probe in there. The great thing about the 38, one of the upgrades that they've done with the newer models, is there's actually a stainless steel threaded knob that goes on for the thermometer holes. And what that does is, before it was like a little, you'd push in some rubber things and they would get old and kind of shrink a little bit, but it's much better now, easier to use. So we put that in there. And we're almost up to temperature, and we'll put this guy on. So we've got our gateway installed and on the grate. If you look at our meat temperatures here, you know, we're around 45 degrees, 46 degrees on each of these guys. The New York strip side, no, the filet side is obviously a little smaller. It's a little up to temperature more. The gateway is sitting around 225, we're on our way up to 250, and that's gonna be our target temperature. The one thing I'll tell you is that you want an open flame when you're doing this, right? You don't want a whole bunch of bitter, white puffy smoke, and if you don't have an open flame, that's what you're gonna have. So what I did is I used my Grill Blazer grill gun and I just fired it up to get all the woods on fire, and then you've got a small amount of vent on the bottom and then a whole bunch up top. We want a bunch of air to go through to keep that fire alive, right? And then we're trying to do this around 250. We're close enough, so I'm gonna put this guy on right now. Again, we're gonna put it off to the right-hand side here, and I'm going to put the filet side away from the fire just to try and help it cook because it cooks a little faster. All right, so here we are about an hour later, and we pulled off our porterhouse. Now, as you can see, I've wrapped the New York strip pretty aggressively, and I've left the filet, and I've also got it on a rack so it can have some air circulating around it. Why did I do that? Well, I caught the filet a little late with the foil. So, you know, it was within 8 degrees, and all of a sudden I got up to 14 degree separation. And I tried to slow it down and I couldn't. So bad on me for that part of it. The filet got up to 137, which is definitely higher than I wanted. I wanted it to stop at 130. The New York strip side got up to 128 in our rest here. So we've been resting for about 7 minutes. All right, I'm gonna let this rest some more. I mean, right now it's looking not too bad. I'll show it to you in a sec here, but here's what we're gonna do. A couple things learned. You need a lot more air on the bottom than I expected, so I had to keep relighting my wood. And I think I'm out about 3.5 turns up top, and I'm 3/4 the way open on the half moon side. I was able to get a little flame there, but it took me a while to figure it out. So I would imagine this one's pretty smoky. I wish I'd figured that out just a little bit sooner, but I think we'll be okay. I mean, it looks good. Now what we're gonna do is, originally I was just gonna throw a bunch of wood in there and cook it over that. I think we got enough wood flavor in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to throw some more coffee lump in there, and I'm just gonna hit it pretty aggressively with my Grill Blazer grill gun, bring it up to temperature, and I'll let it run for like 5 minutes, and then we will be up to searing temperature, and we'll finish this guy off. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes. We are at 600 degrees. What we did is we put back in the lowest rack, the end, and then we're gonna sear right over that. I mean, this close to that 600-degree dome temp, so you know it's hot, right? I bet you it's 800-900 degrees easy. So we will take this guy. Now, the one thing about these guys is you can leave them in. They're good to 1,000 degrees if I recall correctly, but I have no purpose of leaving them in, so we're just gonna get this guy, get rid of this foil. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sear about 1.5 minutes aside, I would expect. We're gonna just put some nice color on it, and then we'll try it out. Let me throw this on there, and I'll walk you through it as soon as I come back. That, my friends, is a nice looking steak. So we seared for a total of 3 minutes. By the time I got out there, it was 650 degrees. I did pull out the bottom slider vents to help get it up the temp there, and then close them down while I was in the sear process. For the first 2 minutes, I purposely tried to keep the filet off to the side so it wasn't directly overheat, and still get some heat on here for the sear. And then what I did is I flipped it every 30 seconds, and then for the last minute, then I put the whole thing over there. So that's how we did it. We know our fillets kind of overcooked, but it is what it is. And there's both sides of it. All right, well, we're gonna try both of them, so we'll cut off this fillet first, like butter. The great thing is we did our 15-minute rest before we seared it, so you really don't have to rest it here. It's like the only time I ever eat fillet, so you can see it's got a little bit of pink to it. We know it's overcooked a little bit, so or for some of you, it's way overcooked, but it's fillet. Let's see what happens. It took a little while for the smoke flavor to come into it. I was worried it might be a little too over smoked, and then, you know, I was like, oh man, maybe I could have done a wood fire because there was no smoke flavor, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like, oh, there it is. So it's actually not too bad. Let's see if I can get this guy out. There we go. All right, see that guy there? It's more the color that I like. Lots of people like it rare. I am not a rare person. I'm more of a medium kind of guy. But, I mean, look at how juicy that thing is. Excuse me, you'll get some, but not that way. Wow. That, my friends, is quite delicious. The smoke just kind of comes in from the background and just finishes it off. It's like, you know, a fine glass of wine that just finishes off with a whole bunch of flavor, or dries up depending on your style. But you know, you're enjoying it, and then all of a sudden you think you're done, and then the smoke comes in there. This is friggin' delicious. I'm actually quite pleased with the outcome of this guy. Let's give the dog some. I'll share some final thoughts in a sec here. No, you're both over here. Let me see what's going on here. This is Ollie who's making a noise on camera. Cookie actually is pretty good. She sits there pretty patiently. It is actually their dinner time. Is it good? Did you taste it? So as soon as I'm done filming, they're gonna actually get dinner, but it's a nice little treat. So there you have it, Jake approved, dog approved. If you haven't messed around with some wood in your Kamado, I highly recommend it. James at Smoking Dad Barbecue, he's been doing it a bunch. I got the idea from him and then my wood-fired oven, and just wanted to try it, and it's absolutely worth trying out because it just takes, it gives you another option for your Kamado style cooking, and it is banging. So hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you haven't seen the unboxing for the Komodo Kamado yet, here it is. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you soon.